Hello guys and welcome back to TUTV. I am Jack.
And I'm Elise. Welcome.
Today is a very special episode because I'm wearing dress shoes.
Yep, you've gotten out of your New York shoes?
New York shoes? Yeah, I mean Timberlands. Timbs.
You're very attached to your Timberlands, yes.
Really nice,
but he's
yeah.
put on dress shoes for our special dressing up episode. When was the last time you dressed up like this?
I think it was like sometime last semester for a job
The
fair.
dress up episode?
I know. I wasn't even on the dress up episode last semester. It was for like a job fair, and I didn't even have a resume. I just walked up, and I had this exact same outfit, but not dress shoes. I had sneakers on, and I had no resume. I just walked up and was like, "Hello, my name's Jack. Nice to meet you." Or like be like this, like, "Hello, hey, my name's Jack," and they'd be like,
"Nice to meet you."
"I don't have a resume." And they just kind of look at me and they're like,
just move along.
Yeah.
We don't need you.
I'm just there for the experience.
Let's go to news.
All right, see ya.
Illuminatoris on kauge võõrplaneet. Magnetormis armukolmnurk maandumas. Stratosfääris.
Hello and welcome back to TUTV News, the best news segment this side of the Mississippi. I'm Alex.
And I'm Ty. Today we have a special report on Pitcher, Oklahoma. Once a thriving community situated 75 minutes from Tulsa, the town was the center of the Tri-State Mining District. During World War II, it provided the U.S. military with over half its lead supply. This mining had disastrous consequences.
Yes, and today Pitcher, Oklahoma is considered too toxic for humans to inhabit. Generations of lead and zinc mining left massive piles of toxic mining waste, known as chat, around the community. Pitcher was the heart of the Tri-State Mining Area, an industrial center that provided a majority of the lead used in American bullets during warfare. In 1980, the U.S. government included Pitcher in the Tar Creek Superfund site. The government created the Superfund program to combat America's worst environmental disasters. Pitcher's citizens suffered from extremely elevated levels of lead in their bodies, especially the children. Studies deemed its buildings to be at imminent risk of cave-ins. In 2009, its final high school class graduated and Oklahoma disincorporated the town. In 2015, its final resident died, dropping Pitcher to official ghost town status. Today, we have a report filmed on location in this once proud city.
News producer Alex Garofalo and Dylan Scala ventured to Pitcher earlier this month. Today we have the footage of our findings. Let's see what we got.
Welcome to Pitcher, Oklahoma, a once extremely prosperous mining town, now an absolute disaster. Almost no one lives here. A 2010 census concluded that only about 10 to 15 people even still called this place home. Because of all the contamination that happens here, it is extremely unhealthy to live in. Thus why the EPA mandated that its citizens leave. In 1984, the Pitcher Gorillas won their 1A Division football championship. The last time they've ever done this. The school's since been shut down. The last class was in 2009 and held 11 students. Since their graduation, the school's been boarded up and fenced in. Since the EPA required that the residents leave this town because of potential health risks, a lot of these homes in Pitcher are left in straight disarray. Pure abandonment. As you can see, there has been no signs of life here for a long time, and for good reason. Living this close to these kind of chemicals can not only be dangerous to adults living near it, but can cause serious developmental problems for the children who grow up in these environments.
That mountain off in the distance is a chat pile. They dot everywhere around Pitcher. Chat is the leftover waste from lead and zinc mining that made this town run for so many years, and it'll never go away. Nature can't fix it. Nothing else is going to grow. They estimated that with trucks running day and night to remove all of the chat and the chat piles from Pitcher would take approximately 40 years. And since there's no one here because it was quarantined by the EPA, it's never going to get moved. And this is a permanent mark on the land left by humans, and it's the legacy of Pitcher now. As you can see, it's U.S. property, and there's a no trespassing sign right there because of what the EPA said to the residents of the town. And what makes it worse is most of this town has been mined under from the mining, which means that all the remaining buildings risk collapsing at any point because there is no sturdy surface upon which they are still built. All in all, Pitcher is a study in what happens when people don't think into the future and don't really have any concept of environmental management.
This town had a prosperous beginning, but because of its irresponsibility and how dangerous to the environment what they've done is, it is a footprint on the earth that cannot be taken away.
Wow, all right. Well, you were there personally. Do you want to talk about your impressions and give us some more info on Pitcher, Oklahoma?
Sure, man. So it was a really interesting place. I first got interested in it when my mom told me about it in high school. Told me about Tar Creek. It's famous for a documentary that's called Where the Creek Ran Red, because the town had such bad lead mining waste that the creek water actually turned red. And so going there was interesting. It's completely deserted, as you can imagine a ghost town being. And it's very eerie because you can go down the streets and see the foundations of the homes where people used to live that are just completely gone or abandoned. And like you saw in the footage, there are shacks left that are still caving in. And they still have the Pitcher gorilla from the Class A state title. It was very quiet, very desolate. And there's a highway that runs right through the center of the town. So there's commercial traffic that goes up to Kansas. And I wonder if any of those people ever think about what they're driving by, because these chat piles, most of them are taller or as tall as buildings on campus, so you can't miss them. It's a very interesting place.
Yeah, it was crazy seeing that ghost town. Well, anyways, that's all the time we have. Thanks for watching TUTV News. I was Ty.
And I'm Alex. We'll see you next week.
Hello, my name is Sridevi Barton. Welcome back to TUTV. And we are here with the Roundtable, which is a new series that we are going to be introducing to TUTV. So here I have with me a couple guests, and you're going to be discussing blood pressure. Hi, my name is Tyler Holmes. And then Mr. Anthony. I'm Kara Shuku. Okay, ladies, let's get started. Okay, Tyler, was this movie what you were expecting?
No, not at all. I guess I didn't have too many expectations because I didn't follow Black Panther as like a comic book. When the movie came out, the Hulk came out, and I was like, oh, Black Panther, yeah, well, that's cool. So, but then when the movie happened and like it was so complex, there was so much information and history and references packed into it, I was just stressed the whole time. Like I was like verbally like gasping and like I was completely sick. So it wasn't what I expected, but in a really positive way.
Taylor, was it what you were expecting?
Definitely.
Because I don't know. I had no idea what it was about. I think it was Black Panther. I saw him in a Marvel movie. Like, and I was like, that's all I know. So I went in. I mean, I definitely was excited because Ryan Coogler is directing and I love him. But I didn't know what was going to happen. So it definitely fit into like the Marvel mold, but definitely carved out its own space. But yeah. I did not expect that they were going to be massive all the time. My mom thought, we were like, oh, they're definitely going to go like war. Yeah, we were like, they're definitely going to be massive. But they were literally massacred for most of the movie, and that was pretty cool. So they were like upset when they had to leave. Exactly. So yeah, definitely.
Hey guys, we are here with Andrew Fix from Lambda Chi Alpha. He was the former president of the Aria Rising exhibit here at the University of Tulsa. So Andrew, can you tell us a little bit about the background of Aria Rising?
Yeah, so Aria was made by a art studio in St. Louis, and it was in conjunction with the Angel Band Project. The Angel Band Project is an advocacy group for sexual assault victims. It really just kind of came about. One of the guys in my fraternity, his mom was part of the group that made it, and she asked him to ask me if I thought we'd be interested in trying to bring it to TU, because it's a traveling piece. It goes to high schools, it goes to colleges.
Okay, yeah.
So.
Cool. And this obviously is an important issue for the whole campus, but why specifically did Lambda Chi Alpha choose to sponsor it?
Right. So, it was just over the summer. It was last summer. I was scrolling through Facebook, and I saw a bunch of people from TU sharing an open letter from President Clancy. I believe he was responding to a letter from the Collegian, and he was talking about his newfound commitment to addressing sexual assault on campus.
Right.
So the Greek system has a unique opportunity to try and address social issues that are happening on campus, and so it just seemed like a good one to address. I thought that we had a great opportunity to address it, and it just all happened right at the same time that I got the email from...
pretty perfect timing.
Right, I got the email from the artist's son saying, hey, do you want to do this? So it was just perfect timing, really.
That is great. And one thing I found really unique about this piece is the interactivity, and also specific for University of Tulsa, where it's located on campus. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, when we were first emailing between myself, the artist, and Allison Garrison, the Greek advisor, we were discussing where we'd want to have it. It made perfect sense to have it in the student union. That's where the most students go during the day. I mean, any given student, doesn't matter what their major is, they're going to be in there at some point, most likely. So it made a lot of sense to have it there. And then in terms of the interactiveness, that's just the nature of the sculpture. Everywhere it goes, that's what they really want, is they want the community to interact with it. Mm-hmm. The whole point is that you write a note of encouragement to sexual assault victims.
Okay.
And then at the end of the project, when they pack it up, they're going to take all those notes and they basically compile them and they put it onto like a social media platform.
Okay, cool.
So that people can go check out those notes, and it's all anonymous, obviously, but that way they can, other victims can see, what people are saying in terms of encouragement.
So if someone would want to write a note for the exhibit now, what would they need to do?
You can walk right up. There's a table in front of the sculpture with pens and paper. You write a note and you roll it up because the sculpture is made out of like cups and bottles, and you just roll it up and stick it in a cup or bottle.
That's really cool. Yeah,
it's really easy.
And obviously you mentioned how President Clancy sent out that letter, and especially I remember at the beginning of last semester it was a pressing issue that he talked about almost every week in the email. But why do you think that it was kind of, besides the fact that the artist came to you at a perfect time, as a time for sexual assault as an issue, across the country, is a perfect time for the exhibit to be here?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can speak too much to the issue worldwide or nationwide. Obviously, I think it's maybe a little bit. It's easier to find out those are happening on your campus. At a big school, it's really easy for that to get swept under the rug, and you'd never hear about it because it's such a small community, and because the president is, making it a big deal for that he wants to address. It's really easy for the community to find out about these issues and to try and play their own role.
Yeah, I think it's great that you guys take advantage of the small campus size to really pinpoint these specific things.
Absolutely.
So I remember, kind of off topic, but a college near my town, Baylor, my hometown, Baylor, huge college, and that's like a perfect example of how a big college can something like that can be, like you said, swept under the rug. So I think that the exhibit is a really good example of how to avoid that.
Yeah.
So so thanks again for coming, Andrew, and thanks again for all you've done with the exhibit.
Absolutely, thank you.
The other day, I got to interview Dr. Joseph Bradley from the History Department right before his retirement in May.
In the 1970s, I was a graduate student at Moscow University. This was part of an American-Soviet exchange program. One of my plans for retirement, I've got several.
Yeah, what do you have in store?
Well, I want to do some volunteer work.
Okay.
Volunteer work that would, I suppose, follow interests of mine. One doesn't sound terribly exciting, but one possibility is to do volunteer work at the Library of Congress.
Wow.
Because that is the best collection of Slavic and Russian books outside of Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And there to this day, there's still thousands of books that aren't cataloged, and I think I could probably, do volunteer work there. one of my newer interests actually is the history of Nazi Germany and the Holocaust. And there are opportunities to do volunteer work at the United States Memorial Holocaust Museum. Well, I don't know. A high point, I suppose over the years, one thing that's been, I think, very rewarding for me is the opportunity to teach, to sort of follow my interests. And if my interests kind of evolve, then my classes can evolve. And I think along with that, I think the students here have been very rewarding. I've really had some great students over the years, you know, really are spirited. They really get interested in topics. I, you know, keep in touch with some of them still. I'm interested in, you know, in their career. I guess my message would be to constantly be informed. Know what's going on in your own country. Know what's going on in the world. If at all possible, spend some time in a foreign country, whether it's, if you're, you know, TU students, study abroad kind of opportunities. I had a study abroad opportunity when I was in college. I studied for a semester in England. And I think that was a real game changer for me because it really made me much more aware of the outside world than I had been before. You look at your own country, I think, from a different perspective. If you're living in another country or meeting people from another country. So I think that's an opportunity to take advantage of, if at all possible. And certainly try to achieve career and professional goals if possible, whether it's further education, graduate school or law school or professional school, or maybe it's working in some kind of capacity, either for government or non-governmental organization, you know, to make some kind of contribution. That I think that teachers, for example, teachers and professors, you know, I like to think that we make a contribution to the world around us by helping students learn things. And so I guess the message would be to don't stop being a student. Keep on being a student. So I guess that would be a message for that I would give to your generation.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I had to cut down the original interview to fit this segment. For the original content, please check out our YouTube channel.
Hello and welcome back to TUTV Sports. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jack. The Olympics are over. The women's basketball team is gearing up for the conference tournament. And we've got some shots from the recent men's basketball game. No pun intended. Let's dive in.
After 19 days of competition, the Olympics have finally come to an end. Norway won the most medals with 39 in all. Norway also tied with Germany for the most gold medals with 14. The Norwegians earned 13 more medals than they did in the games 4 years ago, mostly due to their skiing prowess. The USA finished fourth in the overall medal count, winning 23 in total. Chloe Kim and Shaun White each contributed to the United States 4 gold medals in snowboarding. Men's curling claimed their first ever gold medal against Sweden on Saturday morning after upsetting the heavily favored Canadians in the semifinals. The United States women's hockey team avenged their loss to the Canadians 4 years ago in Sochi by defeating their northern neighbors in the gold medal match.
The NBA All-Star break is also over, and the Oklahoma City Thunder are right back to business in the second half of the season. Russell Westbrook's buzzer beater enabled the Thunder to pick up a tight 110-107 victory over the Sacramento Kings on Thursday. There was little time to enjoy the win, however, as they traveled to face their old nemesis, Golden State, in Oakland. OKC kept the contest close for most of the game, but a poor shooting night from their best players ultimately doomed the Thunder to an embarrassing 112-80 defeat. The bitterness was short-lived, though, as Oklahoma City rebounded on Tuesday night to edge the Orlando Magic. OKC still has much room for improvement as they sit in the thick of the Western Conference playoff picture.
The Golden Hurricane softball team is back from a rewarding trip to Florida. FAU's Strikeout Cancer Tournament saw Tulsa crush their Friday opponents, Dartmouth and UIC 8-0 and 7-2 respectively. After an early morning loss to Texas State, the Golden Hurricane would move on to beat Columbia in the next game of their doubleheader. Tulsa concluded the weekend by shutting out the host team, Florida Atlantic, 1-0. Sophomore Emily Watson allowed 1 hit and recorded 11 strikeouts from the mound. The softball team will take the field again this weekend in Denton, Texas.
The Tulsa women's basketball team has ended the regular season on a down note. After losing at Memphis on Saturday, the Golden Hurricane hosted their last home game of the season on Monday night. It was a back-and-forth game, and Tulsa got to within 6 points late, but the Shockers would outlast the Golden Hurricane 70-59. Senior Erica Wakefield led the way for the home team with 27 points and 7 rebounds and 4 assists in her final game at the Reynolds Center. Tulsa looks to regroup going into their game against Houston in the American Athletic Conference tournament this weekend. Now let's have a look at some game highlights from the most recent men's basketball game.
The Tulsa men's basketball team rode a 5-game winning streak into their most recent home game against UCF. Frank Haith and his impeccable shoe game saw a tightly contested first half, with Central Florida looking to take the ball straight to the cup and succeeding on numerous occasions. Tulsa came back through Daquan Jeffries, who started on the bench, and made an impact with the backdoor cut, lay-in, and one off the pass from Elijah Joyner. Then, good ball movement would free up Corey Henderson Jr. for a 3. The Golden Hurricane would take a 35-32 lead into halftime. The Knights jumped out to a lead in the second half, benefiting from offensive boards and efficient three-point shooting. But Tulsa was too much down the stretch. Junior E2 was a force down low with 17 points and 5 rebounds. Daquan Jeffries, who had 19 points, had a monster and 1 dunk to shift the momentum back in Tulsa's favor. Corey Henderson Jr. was fouled when he hit his second 3 of the night, which would help the Hurricanes seal a 70-61 victory. They have 1 home game remaining at the Reynolds Center this year, Sunday against Temple.
Well, Jack, what do you think about the Olympic turnout? Did you watch the curling game, more importantly?
I missed it. I'm very upset. It's my favorite sport, the Winter Olympics, and I missed it. But I heard that you got to check it out.
I did, man. I stayed up just to see it. I was really psyched. And they actually explained the game of curling beforehand, so I knew how to score it.
That's
and
good.
I actually got really excited. It's like a huge shuffleboard.
Yes.
And it's really incredible, actually. And I think that it's cool because this is going to create an uptick for curling in America, which is always a good thing.
Finally. All right.
More
thanks
curling
again.
for the masses.
Thanks again, guys, for watching. I'll see you later.
Okay, guys, welcome back to the round table. We are here discussing Black Panther. Our next question is for Kyla. Kyla, what character do you identify with most?
I think I identify most with Lupita. I'm sorry, I'm not that familiar with her actual name in the movie, but she was such a strong leader, and she, even though she was sort of in a relationship with Black Panther, she also had her own desires and her own ways that she wanted to help the world. And I think I relate to that strongly, not just finding my identity within my relationship, but also having my own desires of how to improve the world myself.
Nice. What character did you guys identify with most throughout the movie? For me, it changed.
The rhino, maybe?
Okay.
Yeah, the rhino, that's what killed him. Yeah.
And then Okoye steps in, perfect.
Yeah, I know.
Hi, and welcome to Entertainment. My name is Elise.
And I'm Ty. Today we are talking about the movie Black Panther, K-pop, and new phones, amongst other things. Let's get started.
Marvel's newest superhero flick, Black Panther, has continued to dominate the box office. Its second week earned $108 million at 4,000 North American locations. This puts its total domestic earnings at over $400 million in the first 10 days. It has also earned $304 million overseas. Black Panther is the 18th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It stars Chadwick Boseman as the title character, who must return to his home nation of Wakanda and reclaim the throne. Currently, the film has an A+ on CinemaScore and is certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes at 97%.
K-pop fans all over the globe rejoiced as Korean boy band EXO took the stage during the closing ceremony of the Winter Olympics on Sunday. Passionate fans were tweeting hours in advance of the performance with the hashtag Olympics_EXO. The topic was trending with over 5 million tweets. EXO's performance followed Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach's official closure. The band brought 8 of its members and performed 2 of its biggest hits, Power and Growl. In addition, EXO K-pop star CL, a former singer in the band 21, also performed during the ceremony.
A West Virginia judge recently dismissed a lawsuit brought against HBO late-night host John Oliver. The lawsuit was brought by the coal company Murray Energy. During his Sunday show last week tonight, Oliver made fun of the company's CEO, John Murray, saying he looked like a, quote, geriatric Dr. Evil. Oliver was commenting on Murray's belief that the Obama administration regulations were severely damaging the coal industry. The lawsuit sought financial compensation and a court order preventing rebroadcast of the segment's, quote, defamatory statements. A 2-page ruling from Judge Jeffrey Kramer stated that the company failed to state a claim and dismissed the case.
Samsung's Galaxy S9 smartphone is set to hit stores in March. The Galaxy will face competition from both the phones of Chinese company Huawei and Apple's new iPhone X. With both Samsung and Apple's new phones ranging in similar prices, the differences are in the details. Key selling points for the Galaxy S9 include better low-light photography, expandable storage, and raw horsepower. However, the Galaxy S9 contains less noticeable differences from the S8 compared to the differences between an iPhone X and an iPhone 8.
Bollywood superstar Sridevi Kapoor unexpectedly died of a heart attack while at a family wedding in Dubai on Saturday. The 54-year-old actress had a career that spanned 5 decades and included appearances in over 300 films. Her most popular films included classics such as Mr. India and Chandi. Crowds gathered outside Kapoor's house as news of her death spread. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is quoted that he was, quote, saddened by her death. Indian Hollywood actress Priyanka Chopra tweeted, quote, I have no words. Condolences to everyone who loved Sridevi. A dark day, R.I.P. Kapoor is survived by her husband and daughter. Well, that's an interesting segment. Someone is angry at John Oliver.
Yeah, that's the first. Did you ever get a chance to watch Black Panther?
I did, on my sister's birthday, actually, and it's
awesome.
Her favorite superhero, right after, what's his name? The guy with the trident.
Thor?
Yeah, no, he had...
Which one's the guy
No,
with the trident?
anyway, Black
Okay.
Panther was amazing. Everyone should watch it.
Cool. Well, I guess that's all the time we have for entertainment. I'm
See you
Ty.
next. I'm Elise. See you next time. Hi, and welcome back. That was a pretty intense episode.
Yeah.
It had a lot of packages that everyone in the studio worked on. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was cool. We had a bunch of clips. You guys better be happy about that because they put a lot of work into it.
We had Black Panther come out. John Oliver has someone suing him. And the package about the dead town. That was really interesting. I hadn't heard about that before, but it's really tragic.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, you think that nowadays, that wouldn't happen in the middle of America.
Like they should have some safeguards in front of that.
Things like lead poisoning. That's like straight out of 14th
crazy.
century.
But a lot of pipes and stuff still haven't been replaced across the country, and so people are still getting poisoned because especially if they're in older neighborhoods that haven't been fixed up.
I actually live in a really old house back in my hometown.
But you might have lead poisoning.
I probably have lead poisoning right now. No wonder why I get bad grades on my tests.
Oh
my
my gosh.
poisoning. I just can't focus.
My sister actually got carbon monoxide poisoning.
That sounds horrible.
in her housing back in another university.
Jeez.
That actually affected her work.
Wow. Yeah, I went to that was like a running joke with my grandparents' house. We always joked that when we went there, we were always really tired. And we used to I wonder if there's a gas leak or something. We were always tired at Grandma's house. And
That's awful.
There actually was a gas leak.
There was?
Yeah, there was.
Oh my gosh.
They fixed it.
Well, that's great. I'm glad that's taken care of. Thanks so much for joining us this week. If you're watching on Facebook, comment below what you thought of the stories. Thanks so much.
And if you comment on YouTube, I promise I will respond.
All right, then. You have that promise.
Yep.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.
dance floor's nearly empty now. Everyone's gone home. We're fragmented and broken up like love affairs. And as if seeing you for the first time, something whispered, looking at you in desperation, knowing nothing